Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another Boston Greeks podcast. We are back with an amazing show. And I say amazing because we did a round one before, and this is actually round two, the sequel, Break Into Electric Boogaloo, whatever you want to call it. This is the second episode because we had such a great feedback. People were so excited about this. We got a lot of feedback, a lot of likes, a lot of follows. Like it was just awesome for us as a podcast. And it was great for me and for Foti because we got together with some people that we really care about, we really like, friends, people that meant a lot to us, people that meant a lot to the Greek community. I mean, I can't stress this enough. These are the guys that put Boston on the map as a Greek scene. And, we want to welcome everybody back. But first, I want to say hello to my co-host, Foti Stamos. What's up, Foti?
What up, Ari? Dude, another exciting episode. I'm super excited. And you just mentioned something about these gentlemen were part of the scene, right? But it goes beyond that. These gentlemen are also responsible for a lot of people's weddings and we took people from being single to our events, getting connected, getting married, and then these individuals were also part of that experience as well. So it goes beyond just the scene of the nightclubs. But in any event, it's great to have the gentleman back. I'm surprised and I'm excited that we're able to get everybody back again because with everyone's busy life and things that are going on.
Well, we said this before, and I'm going to say it again. A lot of great COVID has been a horrible, horrible thing, but a lot of great opportunities have actually come up because of COVID. And I think the reason we could get everybody together at once is because, they're not out there spinning, doing this, doing that. Like, people generally are home at night, which, that's fine. But it gives us the opportunity to get everybody together, which we're really happy about.
Excellent. Well, let me welcome the boys to the segment. So tonight, once again, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. We have with us Chris Paragios, aka El Greco. We also
we're gonna after you do the introduction, we're gonna go and actually get absolutely. A recap of the names because some of these are good stories.
I also want to welcome Dimitri Soteropoulos, aka DJ 7, and next to 7, Mr. Arthur Markos, aka DJ Thriller. And next we have our main man here, Mr. Peter Souhleris, aka DJ Souhleris. And alongside with DJ Souhleris, we've got George Kotzamanis, aka DJ Manis, and ending off with our boy John Speridakos. The AKA will leave it as a mystery as we get into this segment. But gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us again. It's been a pleasure, and we look forward to tonight's episode with you.
Awesome. All right. So how should we start this off? Do you want to jump into saying about the names? I think that would be kind of a cool thing.
Everyone has that question at the top of their head, like, how did you come up with that? And we had this conversation before, right? So everyone has a DJ name that they went by.
And then
I'm curious on Thriller first. I want to start with Thriller because that one's just got that little to it. And I know it's
good. You know what? And for a long time, I always thought it might be a little too edgy. But,
were you like beating people down, Thriller, and like were you like a
you know what, man? Like, sometimes it's hard to present yourself as a professional when you're like, "Hey, my name is DJ Thriller," and they're like, "What?" Like, Thriller. I'm like, "Yeah."
I mean, you're a DJ. You need that. You need that name. You need that like.
But you know what? This is so. I mean, just the history of the name was. The name came from back when I was like a teenager, and everyone had AOL, and then you pick your screen name. So my screen name was, AGM. So those were my first initials, and then Thriller. So that was like something I probably heard in the Biggie song or something. It was like Thriller, or Michael Jackson, because I was a big Michael Jackson fan. So I was like Thriller, but not Thriller. Awesome. It was Thriller. So
because you're Boston.
Because I'm from Boston and whatever. I was want to be a little more hip hop. But before I was a DJ, because I would use that email and I would people know me from online. I would just be known as Thriller. There's no even before I was a DJ. So when I started becoming a DJ, and I was like, all right, that's gonna be my name. But it's funny because the people that out there that never even knew my first name because I was just Thriller, And I come from a large family too because we all have the same first and last name. So they were just like, all right, if you had a nickname, they were going to use it. Just
So
distinguish
your
it.
dad is like Ella Thrilla Tikanis.
Yeah. Now, and then, it's like Thrillas. Oh, who's that? Thrillas.
Well, it helped us
But,
growing up with
you
them.
know what,
I
and I had to
still
embrace
call you
it. For a long
Thriller.
time, I was like, yeah, I want to maybe, it's just so I can, when I started doing a lot more mobile and weddings and stuff. But then I realized, right, people know me by that name, and I'm just going to embrace it. I'm going to use it, and then.
I love it. When I first, people would say to me, "Yo, you're from Lynn. Do you know Thriller?" I have no idea what you're talking about. Right? They're like, you got to know him. His name's Thriller, and I'm like, Thriller.
Yeah,
I'm like,
dude,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
They don't even know
Didn't
even know
and
my
then,
first name.
I found out who Thriller was. I was like, the Markos? And I was like,
Yo, that's a good point. That's a good point, Peter. And I think Chris knows what I'm going to say here. But we did a party in Philadelphia, and I remember these dudes coming up. They're like, "Othrilas, Othrilas." And I was like, "Yo, are they talking about Arthur?" And they're like, "Yo, DJ Thrilla." I was like, he has a name over here, huh? What's going on? Like, that was cool.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, so I ended up, it ended up good for marketing and stuff. It kind of distinguishes myself a little bit, but it's not. Sometimes it's like, you're a grown ass man and calling you Thriller. I'm like,
yeah, but you know what?
Yeah.
Thrilla, it really does fit you. Like, I could not think of you as not being Thriller. Like, I just couldn't. Like, it's just part of you now.
Yeah, your name definitely stuck.
Yeah.
Like, you're the only one who really held it, who's something that's not a rendition of your name.
Yeah.
Like, I give you credit for that, because
then let's segue to you, Dimitri. So
Yeah.
you at one point were DJ 7, right?
I was. So
and now
that's
you
funny.
just go by DJ Dimitri.
Right. And I think Thrilla put a good a start to that. Is like, once I became a lot more serious about the private event space, like I felt like I just needed to go by my name personally.
Well, start off telling us.
Yeah, so
where
the name
came
Seven,
from.
where it's funny, I was on Nahant Beach with my sister, and we were like brainstorming together what name, because this is when George and I had just started.
Yeah.
Now, my last name didn't have a great ring to it like George's when you cut it short. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna try something a little bit different. And I remember I was just turning 17 the next year, and that's why I decided 7 was always a number that I really liked. So people have always asked me this question, but there's not much more to it than that.
Yeah, but that's still cool, because I like the number 7. I mean, all my screen names, everything I've ever done always had a 7 in it. So I always identify with 7. And I just thought DJ 7 sounded pretty cool. Like, I thought that was a really cool DJ name.
I liked it. I think for me and where I was in my life at the time, I loved having like the street name, and it worked well being in like the club scene. But again, as I kind of grew older, I strayed away from it for the past like maybe 10 years or so. But I still, it's still fun. It's on all the CDs that we made and things like that.
Still on my phone as DJ 7. No.
Yeah. A lot of
Same
you
here.
guys still call me that.
It's in my phone as 7 as well.
I mean, I feel like always, whenever I see your face, 7 will always be like the first thing I think of.
Right. And we made so many flyers with it on it, so that I definitely I'll never forget that, the times I was using it. It's just something that, I kind of dropped after a while when I kind of changed what I was doing in the DJ world.
Which makes sense. It makes sense. Fati's showing us his phone with DJ 7. All right. So let's go to Chris, because you went by a couple of names, right? Well, you guys had like a group name with John, but let's talk about your solo names first.
I had a lot, man. I think my first one was DJ Valantis.
Yes, I remember that.
I don't know if you remember that. I did a lot of the Greek stuff under that name. And then I kind of got out of the Greek stuff for a while, and started focusing more on just house and hip hop. So then I had another name. It was DJ Psycho C.
Wait, I don't remember that.
Yeah, that was
remember that.
I did my Dutch. That was my Dutch house phase.
I
I thought
remember
what I
that.
had for my wedding.
Dutch house.
I had DJ Panic.
Panic's my favorite.
That was my hip hop. My hip hop.
I think I remember that.
I was known as the Prophet for a while from Manolo's message board at venue. And then at the end, my last name that stuck for a while was El Greco. And I think I said it last episode. I was always into Latin music, whether it was like the original Spanish reggae, El General, the Latin house, the strictly rhythm Latin house. I remember it was when we first started working with Spiro. He was promoting the first Greek night we were gonna do, and I was like, man, I'm gonna make a reggaeton CD, because it's so hot right now, and I got all the jams. And
which, by the way, my wife was a huge fan of your reggaeton CDs.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what, man, I'm gonna mix it up. I love Latin music. I'm Greek, El Greco. What better name? It just it fit my personality at the time, and then it stuck. Everybody started knowing me as Greco.
So I have in my head, which I thought was a DJ name, but now I'm starting to think I remember it incorrectly, and I'm just literally remembering your screen name on AOL or Professor. You never went by DJ
That was
Professor.
that was just a screen name. Thriller
I
had just created AGM Thriller like a week before, I think.
Yeah.
I always thought that was a cool
It's
screen name.
Professor, right? Not Professor. Professor.
Professas.
Or Professas.
I thought there was like 10 DJs that came out of Lynn. Come to find out, there was like 4 of us plus all the names.
Oh, Chris.
So good. I was like, we got 10 coming out of Lynn. It's like, no. 5 of those is Chris. I was like, all right.
All right, so we got the guys who had like the actual screen name. So we're gonna ask Mani, but I mean it's kind of clear, but I don't know. Is there any more to it than you just cutting your last name?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't even remember thinking about what it should be. I think I just it was either going to be Kozam or Manis. Like
No,
one or the other.
no, please.
No, Kozam's a Turkish word, so
Yeah.
definitely not.
I was gonna say Mani has a nice flow to it. Like Dimitri said, it's like it fits really well. Like just Mani, boom.
Yeah,
Yeah, the only bad part.
Maniac crazy too. Like
Well, the only bad part, people think I'm from Mani. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. That's true. As a Greek
That's
DJ,
not
yeah.
bad.
My mom's side of the family are from Mani.
So then let's jump to John. John, if you well, first of all, tell us if you had any solo names or any DJ names.
I mean, I did every now and then. Like it was just more for like some mixtapes that I made. But these mixtapes didn't really go anywhere. Like I said earlier, it was like some mixtapes.
Well, you gave me one, and like I said, it was the #1 mixtape ever for me.
Yeah.
So that means something.
I went by DJ Junior.
Oh yeah, that was.
What was the other one?
Mello,
Your first Greek mixtape was DJ Rio.
DJ Rio, yeah, because
Yeah.
I was baptized Yannis Nectarios, so I cut Nectarios and Rio. So that was one of the names that I had.
That's a cool little nickname.
It's not bad. So it was Rio, J Mello, and
Where did J Mello come from?
Oh, that was
like our earlier hip hop days,
That's when you were like a Portuguese DJ.
There was D Mello, right? There was a couple rappers with the name like that.
So since so that's good history of you. So why don't you, John, tell us where the duo name of Freakas came from when you were with Chris?
The Freakas, that came from that track that we made, right?
Yeah. It was we sampled something from Cypress Hill. I'm the freaka, the one that freaks the funk.
Oh yeah.
So,
maybe
oh man, the freaka, that sounds dope.
You guys are on iTunes as the Freakas, you know that, right?
Yeah. We did all of our remixes for X Mix under the Freakas.
We were on X Mix, the remix service, as the Freakers too.
So it still lives on.
What's that? There's a website called discography.com, I think it's called.
Yeah. I've seen that.
Yeah, Discogs.
We were able to.
Is X-Mix still around?
I don't know.
I haven't seen much of it.
I don't think so. This is everybody's like able to just do it kind of on their own.
Yeah, back then there wasn't a lot of audio desktop studios. It was still kind of rare, so there weren't many people doing it.
Wait, so again, I'm the outsider here. What you guys are talking about right now, what is that? What was X?
It was a remix service that was really, really good. And both these guys were on it. That's
because they did some serious production work, right?
Armand Van Helden started there, and you would see on his first couple of albums, it was still released under X-Mix Records.
That was Neil Petricone's.
Yeah.
And
Wow, so that's actually really cool.
Yeah,
Like I had no idea about this.
Like we were like blown away when it was our buddy DJ Chaos, who I think we mentioned in the last recording here, but our buddy started working with them, and he was like, "Hey, why don't you guys like?" We would like play him some stupid remixes that we make, and then there was one that he kind of liked, and he's like, "Oh, that's pretty good." He's like, "Why don't I'll submit it and see what they think?" And he
loved it.
Needed to do more. They needed, remixers, and so we kind of started talking to them, and we got on there.
That's
and just like everything else, it became a job, And
I was gonna say, like you guys, you guys are, I mean, everybody here is a professional because you've all been paid for your work. But I'm just saying, like, that's a really cool thing to have under your belt.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, like when we were shooting GBTV, the segment on Greek Star, right? All of you, Thrilla, John, Chris, and the other guys, we were in a studio, and I remember you guys telling me about how you guys were doing stuff in the studio, but then I don't know if this has something to do with the studio, but you guys did remixes for DJ Cena or somebody?
Oh no, John Cena, the wrestler.
DJ, what did I say? DJ Cena?
DJ Cena.
Everybody's a DJ now. Yeah, John Cena. And you guys were like, well, you did a couple things for John Cena, and his album was like on the charts.
Yeah.
And I was telling you guys are producers that are on the charts.
His theme song, we actually did the audio engineering on his theme song. We brought it, and we brought it to Sony. We went to New York, Sony Studios, and we saw the album get mastered.
That's
which
awesome.
Was really cool.
Yeah, that's something as a DJ that sticks in your mind as a great memory, right?
And we each had like one song that we produced that I don't think made it to like the real album. He made like
underground album. Made it to the real to the final release. The make it loud. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, that's awesome.
That studio, Adi, where you guys recorded the video.
Yeah.
That was our buddy DJ Chaos.
Oh, that was Chaos Base Camp. I think I remember.
Yeah.
That was a great day. That was a fun day. That was cool. All right, awesome. And then the DJ name that I'm most curious about.
I know
DJ Souhleris.
How did I think of that name?
Dude, I'm dying to find out how you came up with that.
So sleepless nights. No, I'm just kidding. What's funny is I don't know, like, did I ever think of coming up with a tag name? I did, but people saying like, Pistol Pete and this and that, and I was like, I don't know, man. I'm just going by Souhleris, And I remember when I got the job at Avalon, about 2 months in, no one, when I first got the job there, you get excited to go in and play, and I felt like really pumped and like, this is crazy. And it was like, oh, what's your name? And it was like, oh, my name's Souhleris. And no one really embraced you in there until you were in a couple of months in, because that was like a revolving door over there. People would come in for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then get 5, 4 weeks, So after about 2 months, John Lyons comes up to me, who was the main, one of the main owners there from the Lyons Group. And he never talked to anyone. Like, he was a very, I don't know, intriguing guy. Like, you know, he would walk by me, never say nothing. One day he comes up to the DJ booth, he goes, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" And I'm thinking, "Oh shit, what did I do wrong? Did I play something I didn't like?" You know, he goes, "We got to change your name." I go, "Why?" He goes, "I don't like it." He goes to me, he goes, "Here's the deal." He goes, "You change your name, you got the job. You don't change your name, you got to go." Like that, you know?
Wow.
I was like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, just think about it. So I said to him, "Listen, John, with all due respect," I said, "that's my name." You know, and I never forgot that. I was like, "That's my name, dude." You know, he didn't say you got to go, but maybe, you know, it wasn't that harsh, but he was kind of like, "You have to get a name or else it's not going to work." It was kind of
Yeah,
like,
he was kind of pushing you towards.
yeah. And for me, it was almost like, you know what? It's a Greek name. I was even more like a Pismatari. I was like, I'm not changing my name. I was like, you know what? People know me by that name, John. I said, it's going to be a disservice to you if I change my name. I've been spinning for many years. People know me. If I just get a different tag, I was like, I ain't doing it. Sorry.
But you know what, Peter? Yeah, your last name like has like a nice flow to it.
Right.
Like it's like, it's not like, you know, DJ Soteropoulos, where everybody's gonna leave immediately if you announce that. That's why I now go by DJ Bufo Montesi. So you guys all heard that here first. But no, Souhleris, however you want to say it, like that has a nice flow. Like that sounds like a good. It's almost like you did pick it.
Well, I had no choice. That was the name.
It's cool that you stuck to your guns.
Sometimes I did, and I'm proud of that. You know, I look back and I'm glad I kept, you know, I mean, look, I probably would have been fine with whatever, but I just liked it. I was like, that's my name. I've been using it forever. All my records had Souhleris on it. I wasn't going to fucking change all my records now. You know, I'm just kidding. You know,
you're like the Will Smith of the Greek DJs. You just keep your name so everybody knows it.
When Peter became legend status and he was talked about, people would say DJ Souhleris. I thought it was Souhleris.
Souhleris.
Yeah.
You can call me Souhleris.
Yeah.
Did they mistake that with like the word Souhleris, like Souhleris?
Yeah.
Wow,
Yes.
That's funny.
Called Souhleris.
That's kind of cool too, Souhleris.
It was
when it was, I remember when we first cut a demo tape on Kiss, not a demo commercial on Kiss 108 for Avalon Friday nights, you know, and it was this really cool. I got to go into the Kiss 108 studios and mix live. I was actually mixing live the 60-second cut, and the guy behind was like, "What the hell are you doing? We're gonna cut all this up on a computer and a reel to reel." I was like, "No, I got this live, dude." I'm like, "Bop, bop, 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 bop," and I'm doing this live, and he's freaking out. So they do the thing, and it was like DJ Souhleris, and I was like, no. The H used to throw everyone off. I was like, forget the H. It's DJ Souhleris. So other than that, it was all right. It was good. But there was a couple of names people were running in the beginning, but I just stuck with that name, and that's it.
But you know what?
I've never heard any other name for you. You mentioned Pistol Pete. What else?
No. The people were telling me to do this, and I had no interest in doing that.
Yeah, I know.
DJ Pistol Pete.
I can't picture you with that.
That was it. DJ
no, man, it would be a totally different scenario right now. He might not even be here with us right now if he went by DJ Pistol Pete.
See you later.
Where is this?
That's too funny. All right, so okay, thank you guys for giving us that awesome info. So now let's kind of jump into something that I've been thinking about since last time, because last time when we recorded the first episode, we talked about some really great memories, and I shared like a great memory that I had, just a magical moment that I shared with Chris and John that was like a perfect storm. So I was thinking about me as a club goer. I wouldn't call me a promoter, but like I was involved in the Greek scene and the parties and stuff as like a web person. I mean, I don't even know how you connect those things, but anyway, I had some great moments. I had some horrible moments. I mean, I could tell you stories of like amazing things that happened, be it with friends, be it with music, be it with a pretty girl that I met, like just cool things. And then I remember disastrous nights of like everything just went wrong and it was horrible. And so I was thinking about it, and I'm like, these guys have been DJing at like amazing events that like so many people have memories of. So I'm sure these guys have memories that are great, memories that are like pretty bad. I mean, just to give an example, I'm not going to steal this story, but there was a night where I had, it's very unlike me, but I had a little bit too much to drink in one of these Greek nights.
No way.
And
Yeah, right.
I actually have a video, and actually, if I'm inclined, I might splice the video into this recording. But it's me, it's John and Chris, I believe, put me on the mic at the end of the night, and it was just horrible from the get-go. It's like me going, everybody, thanks for coming out. Like, you could hear how horribly drunk I was. And then the video cuts to the girl I was dating at the time with like a real sourpuss on her face going, Ari's so drunk. He's such an asshole. And then out of nowhere, you see Chris run down the stairs going, yo, Ari spilled beer all over my CDs. Like, what the hell? And they're like, yeah, he's an asshole. Yeah, he's an asshole. So like that's like an example of a night gone wrong. Like, do you guys have like nights that you remember as like amazing nights? And do you guys have nights that you remember where shit just went bad? So let's hear some of these stories. Anybody volunteer to go first, or should I just go in order? All right, Chris, we're gonna go with you first.
Well, that sounded like one of my disaster nights.
Which club was
when
that?
I had to re-record, reburn all my CDs.
For real?
Yeah. Well, not all of them.
Man, I'm
Most
sorry,
of them.
man. We really have to show this video because we caught this as it happened. And Chris is a pretty laid back dude, and he doesn't generally get really mad. And it wasn't like he came down and he was like ripping mad. He had still kind of a little bit of a smile on his face. But he's like, yo, Adi just knocked all his beer on my stuff. And I just laughed and laughed when I saw this, and I was like, oh my God, I remember that. But is that really one of your
That's
worst
a good
memories?
impersonation of me.
How about a fond memory? How about something that was like magical to you?
I mean, there've been a bunch of magical moments, I guess.
I imagine as a DJ, you guys would have a lot of magical moments. Anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to like mention?
I don't know. I just there's just some nights that stand out where I felt like there was such a strong connection with the crowd. It was like almost like we were reading each other. Just where everybody's just in it. You're in it. It's just like you're in the zone. There were a few memorable nights like that, both in the American scene and the Greek scene.
Yeah.
What about, gentlemen? Anybody opened up for during the concert times, were there any moments where some of us were, or some of you were actually part of the opening for any of the major singers from Greece that were hosting concerts at the time?
There was never openings for us back then. It was always the after party that was huge.
Yeah. After party, yes.
And we used
All right, you know what? Let's talk about let's do that question after. Let's just finish with this one.
All right.
I got a story, actually, something that I can add.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So when you talked about, I wouldn't say like a bad night, but I have a funny story that involves George and I. So when George and I started, it was probably around like 2004, 2005, this happened. And we, like, when anybody starts, so you don't have that many events, right? So we're like, hey, we'll take anything. We'll do any type of gig. So I was listening at the time to a lot of like Greco's reggaeton CDs, like the Maslow Dose was like my thing, right? And I used to be friends with a bunch of the Dominican kids in Salem because everyone else is pretty much from Lynn. I grew up in Salem. So we were a pretty heavy Dominican population. And George was working at Captain's. I was working at Middleton House, and I texted him. And I probably didn't text him. I probably called him because texting probably wasn't even like as, I think we had to pay per text at the time. So I called him and I was like, George, I got us a gig tonight after Captain's. Are you in? And he's like, where is it? I'm like, all right, so it's in the Point in Salem at my boy's house.
I remember
reggaeton all night. All we have to do is bring like
Guns.
our console, and the speakers are already there because another DJ would had already started. But like we were super in tune with reggaeton at the time, like from like Greco and Thrilla and the Freakas, like that was our thing, right? And George is like, "Are you sure, man? Like, are you sure? Like, are you sure this is a good idea?" And I'm like, "Well, what else are we gonna do? Like, we don't have any gigs, so let's do it. Like, we're gonna take it." It was obviously unpaid, by the way. Like, this was just exposure gig.
Oh, you guys are like real deal right there.
Yeah. So he gets out of Captain's. I have my gear. I come out of the pizza place. We meet at the place in Salem. And again, as I'm driving up, George is like, "Dude, are you sure about this?" Like,
The whole thing was sketchy, just like
are
everything.
you sure, right? And I'm like, "Of course, man. I promise you, nothing's gonna happen. Like, it's gonna be fine." So we roll in, like smoke everywhere. We set up the gig and we just start ripping it, like reggaeton after reggaeton, and people are looking at us like, "Who are these like non-Dominicans
These white boys.
singing, like to this level of reggaeton?" But it was cool because it's what we really liked. So we're having a blast. It's a great night. And then like you start to see the crowd just like make a massive circle. Some dude like whipped out a gun. Okay.
Gee.
And I remember looking at George and he's like, "I told you, man. I told you we shouldn't have taken this gig." So
I could see George doing that.
he was so pissed at me. So we like unhooked the stuff, right? And like we have the 19-inch rack like running to the car outside to try to beat it before the cops come. And I just remember the whole time hearing him be like, "Dude, I can't believe you took me here. Why did we do this?" We get in the car and we take off. But I think, so that was just like a funny story, but like, it was definitely something I'll never forget.
No,
It's
man,
a memorable event.
that's
nuts.
exactly the story
Yeah.
that I wanted to hear. Like, that's awesome. I was sucked into that, and I could totally picture you guys. And I could totally first of all, I could picture George when you said I got a gig tonight. I could picture a lot of people going, "Yeah, man," but I could picture George going, "Where?"
Yeah.
Yeah, George. I can picture George because George is very methodical. He kind of wants to lay it all out, wants to make sure everything's cool, you know. But I
Oh man.
so no one got shot, dude. I mean, I would have been a little bit better if someone got shot. In the
No,
leg.
no one got
shot in the leg.
What was he
George had
doing?
to
Like
put a
showing off
brace
or
on you.
something?
I
Was
thought
he
you were
showing
going to
off
say
a
you like,
gun?
ran out of music because you didn't know like what they knew for reggaeton. I didn't expect a gun to be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought they
no,
were
a gun
making a
was
circle
drawn.
around you.
Yeah.
Dimitri,
There was
what you
what
should
do
have
you-
done was you should have grabbed the gun, shot George in the leg, then you would have become famous like gangsta reggaeton dudes real quick overnight. Just telling you, man.
No, I remember like people, they were helping us like get out of there.
Yeah.
Like
Hey,
they're like, "You guys
so-
need to go."
Yeah, but do you think there was nothing happened there, right? It was just
No,
somebody
like,
showing off or something?
No, like I called and I called my friend Manny after to ask what was happening. And he said like, someone beefed with someone else's girl and, no one was shot, but it was cops came.
So he flashed a gun because he was pissed, not just because he was like drunk
Correct.
and dancing and taking a
Yeah,
gun
yeah,
out.
yeah. But then
Oh,
like
shit.
when people started seeing it, remember we're in a house, we're not in a club.
Yeah.
So like everybody's just shuffling around, like hitting the street, going through the doors while George and I are trying to unplug
Oh,
and carry
geez.
gear out equally as fast.
So,
Hey,
so
look, I used to go down to the point because that's where I learned how to do a lot of my production. I linked up with some Dominican kids and I used to go down there. And that place is like your place.
Hold
you go
on,
to.
Thriller. Hold on. You gotta tell everybody who these dudes actually were that you hooked up with. That double A guy who was like he was part of the original Looney Tunes and
Really?
Looney Tunes got big and they made a
So
studio in
when
Puerto
I was
Rico.
this guy actually produced a track with Jay-Z. And at the time, I linked up with somebody in Lynn, and I wanted to learn, and they knew I was a DJ and I was doing production. Like, "Yo, you should meet this guy." So I'm like, "All right, meet this guy." And they're like, "This guy's name is Double A, or AA Aaron." And he's like, "Yeah, I work." I was like, "Can I come to the studio and just watch what you guys do?" Because at the time, Chris wasn't using FL Studio Fruity Loops. They were using the Mac-based stuff. And I was like jumping up to this Fruity Loops because I was like, "All right, this is a new stuff I want to learn. This is what all the reggaeton is made." And I ended up getting in the studio. This guy literally made a track with Jay-Z on it, with El Bambino on it. Like he made that track. And I'm sitting there watching them produce the track. And I'm in the studio now. And this is like in the basement. And no English at all is being spoken, all Spanish. So it's just me. And I'm just watching them do stuff. And they're just looking at me like, I'm like smoking weed. Everyone's like just like people in and out, girls, guys, like babies. It's like, and I'm talking about a studio that probably costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. It is right down there, the recording, everything. So it was like. When I first started, I learned so much of them. We exchanged stuff. I gave them Greek music. They listened to it. Like they were like, "Wow, this is cool." We're talking about music, like how reggaeton and the sito is the same beat, and it's like all like the same rhythms and stuff like that. And a lot of them, like,
is that true though? Does reggaeton have the same beat as sito?
Yeah, same rhythm. Yeah,
same
all
rhythm.
right.
That guy, the producer, actually, because he lived in Lynn, he used to go down to the festival, the St. George Lynn Festival. And he told me, he goes, I was there, I was eating some Greek food, and I was sitting there, I was watching the band, and I'm like, he was like, are they playing reggaeton right now? He goes, that beat, it was the same exact beat. I go, yeah, it's the same exact thing. So and then at that point, you started hearing it in Greece and all these Greek songs, because they picked up on it in Greece, and all these songs now, it used to be sito, now we're just like straight up reggaeton beats. Heavy drums, the heavy kicks and the snares. And it kind of evolved from there. And I felt like we seen it, before all that happened in Greece, we were like in it,
I would say, I don't know if it's because we're all from Salem or Lynn or the surrounding area, but reggaeton played a huge part in a lot of our musical background.
Well, you'd walk down the street, every car was just bumping it. And that's where it all started, because the Looney Tunes are from Lynn, and they're the ones that popularized reggaeton. I mean, there was heavy influence in Lynn and Salem with that reggaeton.
So all right, so this podcast is awesome because we're learning a lot. Like, I had no idea about this. This is new. This is new to me right now.
Yeah, I mean that was back in those days when we were making connections. We were going seeing people, different studios. Everybody was kind of doing their own thing, but you're getting the influence, especially when you're in Lynn, because you would hear all these different crews doing music. Go to hip hop studios, and we had it lined up. We had like a Greek track, our Greek artist to do a track with a reggaeton artist from the North Shore, and we had a lot of stuff lined up. It didn't pan out, but we were trying to connect a lot of those that music too.
Well, I mean, in your histories, there is a lot of connection between different musical genres. Like, I remember you guys, who was it?
We had a reggae artist that Chris used to work with.
Yeah.
Nachos.
Yeah, we did
the Zini, the remix.
Yeah. That was really good, man.
Yeah.
We put him on. What's the girl that won the Eurovision?
The number one remix too.
Number one. Yeah, Elena
Paparizou, yeah.
That too. The song that she won, I forgot the name of it.
Yeah, my number one.
My number one. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I remember that. That was
Dude,
awesome.
We even had a live performance at Rumor. With Nachos.
Nachos performed there.
With the guys, with Stella and his buddies.
So let me plug Boston Greeks real quick, because I have the picture gallery from Rumor. I have video clips. It's not up yet, but look out for it. just want to throw that plug in.
Make sure you filter those pictures, please.
Not Forty makes me filter all the pictures of him, just so you guys know. So that's awesome. All right. So we heard some of these great stories. Anybody else want to jump in?
So listen, I'll say one thing. I remember just along the journey, right? And I'm sure a lot of people can relate. There's times when you think you're going to go out and have the best night, and it just sucked. And there's times when you're dragging and I was like, I don't really want to do this gig, and I go, and that was the best night. You know.
I'm going to say, Peter, that I think that is very accurate in life, because when you have high expectations, you can almost never meet them. And when you have no expectation, it's almost always better.
Exactly. And I've done so many gigs, man, where I'm like, oh, this is going to be the best gig in the world. And I'm like, this gig sucks. It's horrible. I can't get them to grind. You're fighting all night. And then you do some gigs that are like, I don't want it to end either, Because a lot of times, especially private parties, you're looking at your watch. You're like, when is this gig going to end? And then there's those parties where you don't want it to end. Yeah. And there's sometimes where they want you to go an extra half an hour, and you're like, yeah, it's $500 an hour. I used to throw some ridiculous number out there because I didn't want to stay. and they would pay you. And then there's gigs where like, I don't want no money. I just want to keep on playing for you guys. You guys are awesome, you know. And I've done gigs, dude, where I'm listening to all these stories, and I've seen people get shot. I've seen guns pull out. I've seen people die. I've seen people, you know, I've seen a lot. I've seen people die at gigs. People died, ambulances, cops, gigs over.
What,
you know,
like fighting
dead,
or
dead? No, fights. I've seen private parties with 400 people just go into mayhem and like, holy crap! I'm taking my speakers and throwing them in the back so they don't. I mean, craziness. You know.
Wow.
I'm sure, guys. Not that we want to discuss fights, but I'm sure we all have experienced breakouts and fights in a lot of our Greek nights.
But more fun stuff than that, you know, more fun stuff. But I'm just saying, like, I've seen some crazy stuff. And if I'm gonna recall, I'm trying to see that, you know, the question was like your best gig and your worst gig type of thing. I think I can think of more good gigs than bad gigs, you know, and I've had some serious journeys over the years where, you know, I mean, I can talk about Avalon gigs. I can talk about some fun stuff that comes to mind was when I was going to Philly a lot. And a lot of times I was bringing Dimitri and Kotzamanis with me, right? We guys went together a bunch of times. So I don't know how, I forget what happened. I know Manny moved out to Philadelphia. He opened up a nightclub.
DJ Manolo for all you people.
DJ Manolo, right? Which we're gonna have on the next session, as we said, right? So he's got a lot of cool stories too. So Manny calls me up one time and he's like, dude, you know, I know you really want to do this, blah, blah, but I got these Greeks down here. They want to do a Greek night and they're looking for a DJ.
And so he's in Philly, you said?
He's in Philly, yeah. So there's a good Greek vibe in Philly. So they're they're looking for a DJ and do you want to do it? And I was like, I don't know, dude. They're like, come on. It's going to be at my club. He owned a beautiful club. Did we play at his club? Did you guys do that?
Was it called Biblos?
We played there, but no, Manny's was called 114.
Okay.
I don't know if we played there for the Greek night, but anyway, the first one I did, he flew me out there. I played for it. And again, I was like, it was one of those gigs where I kind of did it a favor for Manny. Excuse me. I didn't really want to do it. My expectation was going to be, this is going to suck. It was awesome. These dudes were so appreciative. It was that era. It was like 2004, 5, 6, where reggaeton, Greek was all mixing in, and I was just on top of my game, and I was playing stuff, and I'm scratching and remixing. And these kids were like, just, who the hell are you? You got to do this every week. I'm like, I can't come here every week, man, you know? So then, you know, they wanted to do it again and again. I was doing it like, I don't know, once every 2 months, every 3 months, and I was bringing you guys out, right? And you guys were playing too.
We'd open for you.
Yeah, this was the beginning for them, and I was throwing them out. I'm like, go. And they're like, what do we play? I'm like, just play music. Don't worry about it. Go.
You know what's interesting, Peter? We did a party in Philly. I was with Chris and Dimitri.
Oh yeah.
And something that stuck out in my head. Oh, and Thriller too. But I think Thriller was a different time, no?
Yeah, we went down with Sigma.
Oh yeah.
And then we went
Chris and Dimitri.
We went a second time, yeah.
But something that stuck out in my head is like, I've been doing Greek nights in Boston for like, I don't know, like 10 years at that point. And I'm like, I still see Greeks that I don't even know. And I was like, we did this one Greek night here in Philly, and we were best friends and on a first name basis with like every single person in that club.
Yeah, that's how they were. It was
and
fun.
I was like, what the hell? This truly is the city of brotherly love.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, like, that was one of the biggest things was when we went down there and then we went to New York, and like they knew us. Like they were like, oh, this is Thriller, this is Greco. And at that time I was like, wow, like actually people it's, you know, we know that people on the internet knew who we were, but like we were down there, like, wow, people were coming up to us like, yo, that's that track you did or that mix CD you did. And I was like, wow, these people, you know, they don't know us at all, like as people, just as DJs, and they just love the music and they appreciated us being down there. That was a big thing. In New York, the same thing. We go down there, we'd be walking on the street in Astoria, and they'd be like, hey, Thriller, Greco. I'm like, all right, we're doing something, like people would know us. And that was like a huge thing. And I felt
that must be like an awesome feeling.
Yeah. And I was like, you know what? Could you put a lot of, as a DJ, and even doing the music production, we put a lot of hours into it, like untold hours that, you know, you don't know that we're in your basement and you're learning and you're trying to put this track together. And, you know, even me do my music remixing, but like Chris doing the post-production stuff and a lot of that stuff, that takes a long time. And it was when we started seeing people actually like, wow, they liked it. It was a good feeling. And I was like, oh, this is worth it. I mean, we didn't become millionaires instantly, but like.
Well, look,
took a
I
little
imagine
while.
like a few months, really. Yeah.
I imagine you guys sitting on stage or behind a DJ booth, whatever it is, just wherever you are. I feel like that is similar to the feeling of like an actor like performing and a singer singing and like just
Yeah,
any
fun,
sort of
man.
like
Yeah, that's-
performer performing. I feel like you get that same feel, that
That's
same
what
vibe.
drives.
Yeah.
That's what drives us. I think we can all say that we have in common. That's what drives us. It was never about the money. It was always about, just entertaining it and making people have a good time and a fun time, and taking them on a journey. You know what I mean? Like taking them up, taking them down, taking them left, taking a right. And the element of surprise, dropping things that they would never expect, whether it was,
That's cool.
You know what I
That's
mean?
really
Like,
cool.
just taking them on a journey and taking them back, taking them forward, keeping them there. I love going down memory lane and doing quick power sets, like in 5 minutes, mixing, 10, 15 songs, just bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
And
Like if I'm in a car with like 3 of my friends and I play like a really good song, I'm like, I'm the man for my 3 friends. So I can only imagine like how cool it must feel when you guys really connect with the audience and you see hundreds and hundreds of people just jumping up and down and having like the time of their lives, and it's all because of what you are doing.
And alcohol
it's you
helps
doing
too,
that.
And alcohol always helps the situation as DJ.
Yeah.
What the best feeling
that's
is
a given.
when they're in such a vibe and you got some songs where you can drop the volume so they can sing along.
Yeah.
And it's just like the whole place sings along.
But see, that's the stuff that you DJs, no matter what's going on, no matter how excited you are, or if you've had a few drinks, like you have to be in tune. Okay, this is where I'm going to drop the volume because everybody's going to sing along. You got to know that. This is where we like really crank it up because everybody's going to go nuts. This is where like you have to know your audience. And I think that's a really cool thing. That truly shows that you guys are connected to the vibe and the people. And it's a really, really cool thing. And it must feel good when you succeed in that.
You definitely feed off the energy.
Yeah.
Crowd, and it goes both ways, right? So if that crowd's not feeling it either, or you're just not doing something that makes that crowd not feel it afterwards, then you feel that negative energy come back too. You know what I mean? So it's like, it goes both ways. Like you can do something that can make that crowd go nuts, or you can do something that'll just totally turn them off too.
Yeah. And so sometimes
none of us do that, obviously.
What sucked as a DJ, like, you could go to a party the week before and play these 10 songs and people were like going nuts. And then you're like, oh, I figured it out. This is the formula.
Yeah.
And then you go to the next party and you go, watch this. You play 1, no one moves. You play 2, no one. And that's like getting kicked in the balls and punched in the gut. And that's where champions are made, because that's where you got to come out of that and make them dance. And those were good nights. You know what I mean? Where, let him kick you in the balls, let him kick you in the nuts. But you got to, it just didn't work. What you did last week didn't work. So you got to reinvent yourself. And that was hurtful, but yet the challenge was real fun.
But the solution to all the DJs' problems with not being able to connect is have drunk Adi in the audience. Because if I'm in that audience, you guys are gonna connect and everybody's gonna feel it.
I'm talking about private parties. I couldn't bring you to a wedding, Adi.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So,
gigs where no matter what you drop, you look like a rock star because the place is packed like sardines. They're all drunk, and you could sing a song, and they're going to sing "Kumbaya" with you, and you're still a rock star. There was times
that must be honestly, that must be so amazing. Like, it's like fun. I wish I could like have felt that. I mean, friend, you guys are all friends. You guys have all brought me up to the DJ booth, and just like standing in the DJ booth is like such a cool feeling. I'm like, I'm the man. I'm in here in the DJ booth.
I have a good memory while we're talking about this stuff.
Hit it.
There was a Greek night at Rumor. It was me and John doing it. It was like one of the first ones we started with Sigma. I think it was like an Easter night or something. And we were playing Greek all night, whatever, mixing in some reggaeton, some Arabic, whatever, right? And then what we had never done before at a Greek night.
I think I know what you're going to say.
We were trying to incorporate what we were doing at the American nights when everybody was just, hammered and, whatever you'd play, they were going to go nuts to. So we got into an 80 set and we played Living on a Prayer.
Yes, I was going to say that.
And every single Greek in there sang the chorus, dude. He dropped the volume down.
Come on.
Singing along.
Of course they're going to freaking sing the chord.
I was that night, and I remember it almost broke a barrier of like, you can play other things at a Greek night. and it worked. Like, so when I got involved, I'm like, all right, we can drop like the 5 best, hip hop songs in the middle somewhere and keep it going. But I remember back in the day, it was like strictly Greek music the whole night. And I was like, come on, just play that Biggie song, just play it. And it would never happen. And then Chris and John, they did that night, I was like, dude, it works. It's more that should be played. I'm like,
you guys disrupted the whole system.
Yeah. I got a great story where it didn't work. So again, it was venue, but it was, we were doing a hip hop night. It was a separate thing. It was for 617 promotions or whatever they called the promoters. So we were doing hip hop night, and everybody remembers Big Pimpin', right? Jay-Z. So I don't know, like most of you guys know, I play the doumbek and I listen to a lot of Arabic music, Egyptian stuff, Turkish stuff. And I found the original song that Timbaland sampled. It was identical. It was like he just looped it. He took it off of this Egyptian sample and it was identical. And one night we were doing a hip hop night, and we're kind of used to like mixing it up and throwing in like all kinds of different stuff, So I was like, yo, I'm going to drop that original track. Chris is like, nah, man. No, trust me. It's Big Pimpin'. Everybody knows it. So we played Big Pimpin'. I was like, watch, man. It's going to work. It's going to work. And then I dropped, because like the thing is like, the sound quality of the original track is not even.
Oh man, I remember that.
Like,
nobody knew what to do.
808s enough.
Right? The crowd didn't know what to do. They were like looking at each other.
And then like it just totally goes into this like old school like 70s style Egyptian instrumental.
The 8-track version.
And I was like, yeah, you're right, man. It didn't work. I don't even know what we played afterwards.
That's like, still awesome though. I love stories like that. I mean, you got to take chances, right? Like, if you don't take chances, how do you know?
One more story for John. We had this disco house night. I forget, somewhere in Boston. And it was our first night spinning like a disco house night, because we had a phase, we were into that disco funk filtered house. And so we were pumped up. And there was just 2 turntables. We just had our records. We didn't even have CDs with us. And it was kind of small private party, and John was like, he was on to mix, and he was like, oh, I'm gonna drop this, he was all chill, he was like feeling it. He's mixing literally for like a minute and a half, right? Both volumes up, like full mixes. You can hear a perfect blend. I mean, it was like the perfect mix. I was looking at him. I was like, whoa, I've never heard him do such a long mix.
This is at the, what's it called?
The SW1, I think it was called. Yeah. So John makes the mix. I'm like, yo, man, that mix was dope.
Dude, I was like, that's a memorable
and he took
mix.
the needle off of the record that he just mixed. He took the needle off the record he just mixed in. And he didn't know what he had done, and everybody was looking at the DJ booth. I'm like, yo, put the needle back on.
So listen, I gotta tell you the same story, right? So Yanni, this is at Avalon. He doesn't mix. He's scared. This is when he's like the first time he's mixing. Second time, he does a perfect blend, just like you did, and then he picks up the needle of the song he mixed in, and he's looking at me. And he's like, what do I do? I go, put the needle down. And he puts it down.
Put the needle on the record.
I'm like, what? I give him a spallada across the head. I was like, get out of here, dude. I'll never, ever forget that. And this is, 2,000, 1,500 people. And he just picks it up. lucky for him, the people started like chanting. They thought he did it on purpose. You're like, I go, put the needle down. He puts it back down.
So these are good stories of like what we would consider like a total like fuck up. Do you guys have any like stories of really fucking something up live in front of an audience?
All the time. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
if anyone tells you they don't, like that's a lie, right?
Well, how? Because obviously, like Foti and I, we don't really understand how a DJ can fuck. I mean, we've heard DJs fuck up, but we don't know how. So how did you guys do that?
About. So what we just said is a classic mix-up.
Yeah, stopping the music.
Probably have done. You stop the wrong music.
You hit the wrong button on the CD player or something, right? Or,
playing the wrong.
So that's like rule number one for DJs is like, do not stop the music.
Going.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember, Ari, we've had nights at El Panino and so forth where the equipment had overheated.
Yeah.
Right?
I
and
played that.
They couldn't get the music back on for like 15 minutes.
Oh no.
And that didn't happen once, it happened often. So there were moments where we had severe technical difficulties.
There was actually a night I did for you, Foti, at Umbria. And I remember I was using my turntables with Serato.
Dimitri, you did those nights for me.
Okay.
Not just Foti.
Whoever was there. And I remember
no
at that place,
nothing.
they when everyone was dancing, you would get like a resonance, a bounce, and my needle just kept hopping on the record. Now on Serato, it didn't matter because it would just sound like more of a skip rather than like a complete cut. But I do remember just being like, I don't know what the hell to do, man.
Guys, you mentioned Umbria, and over the years, I always used to say to myself, those fourth and fifth levels were so jam-packed we could feel the floors bounce.
Yeah, all the time.
I would say it's only a matter of time where one of these floors is going to just give
I would suggest a structural analysis about it.
I second that.
Well, Dimitri, couldn't you weight the needle down, or does that not
what you're
work?
supposed to do is put them on surgical tubes, like in big clubs and big rooms. The 1200 was literally on rubber bands.
Yeah, exactly. The turntable was sitting on like a belt that was rubber, so it was supposed to bounce so that you didn't get that, but it only helps so much.
Yeah.
Okay, it has to be done right, or else it's gonna go nuts. Because I remember when
they should have invested in like some better equipment, considering how much money
was
they
your
made
equipment,
for these
Dimitri, or was
No, it was their turntables, but the rest.
Yeah, I remember Manny used to take the record cleaner. Remember the record cleaner? Some of you guys don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
We would take a record cleaner and wedge it in between the turntables so I can scratch on it, because you couldn't scratch on the surgical tubes. The thing would be all over the place.
Right.
Try to scratch it. Manny would
Chris,
it for me, or wedge the record cleaner in there, and that's the only way I could scratch on turntables like that.
Me and Chris had an incident. We were setting up at, what was that, Whiskey Park? It was that restaurant where I had to bring my own equipment.
Yes.
And we couldn't get my equipment for some reason. We were trying to tie into the system there, and we get such feedback. It was like 5 minutes left till the place was full. We still had no music. We were like, I was literally sweating.
I got it.
So how do you solve problems like this? Like you have to like
you start isolating things. You start isolating your mixer, you're isolating your player, your microphone. I don't know how we fixed it, but like it was playing, there was no volume on, music was coming out of the system. To this day, I think it was a ghost. I think it was like, I brought my equipment home. I had my mother take the mati off of it. It was that bad.
Peter, I got a story for us real quickly. You talk about what happens in a situation with equipment. You mentioned Whiskey Park, and back in the early days of Sigma, we had an event night on a long weekend holiday in February, and DJ Nico Garoufalis, who's not with us tonight, but he'll be with us in an upcoming segment. If I can just mention this story, where he was the DJ for the night for this event, and there was a sort of a snowstorm that night, and we had a pretty big night. We had a big list on the guest list, and something happened with DJ Nico's equipment. Because of the snowstorm, he couldn't get to his equipment, and we were, it was like 10:30. There was a line out the door waiting to get in, and he had no equipment. I'll let him tell the story the next time he comes on the segment, but I think we had to track you down, Peter, to borrow your equipment, and he had to come to your house to borrow your equipment and drive to wherever you were at the time, only to bring your equipment and come back at 11:30 so that he can spin. But from 10:30 to 11:30, there was no DJ at the night, and there was like 300 people at Whiskey
I don't even remember that.
But you came through for him at the time, and thankfully you were available.
I would come through for anyone because I always wanted someone to come through for me. That's how it goes. I've had gigs like that where stuff isn't working, and it's like Thriller said, man, it's like there's this pit, this feeling in your stomach because all eyes are on you and all the pressure's on you. And then you just got to go process of elimination. I remember doing a gig one time at the Park Plaza Hotel. I was doing a wedding, and I was with a band, and I blew both my speakers, right? At a peak time, like the place is jumping, everyone's on the dance floor. And then all of a sudden, both my speakers popped. And I ended up jumping behind the drum set, and I just was like, and I started playing the drums, and I could play this one riff like do do bop do do bop, and people were dancing, and I was talking to, I think Thanos was my roadie, right? And I'm like, Thanos, plug my speakers into the band speakers, and I'm like, do do da do do da. Thanos is like, what? I go, plug my speakers into the band speakers. So he unplugs from my mixing board, he plugs into the band speakers, and they had like subs and all kinds, and all of a sudden I was like, boom, and I jump back on. And the band looks up and they're like, what are you doing playing with her all speakers? I go, my speakers blew. Shut up. I go, I got to play. So that was
that must be so stressful. Like, as somebody with OCD, like I would just go nuts if like my stuff didn't work.
What I did was I grabbed the microphone from the band, and I was like, all right, get your hands up, just start clapping. I'll just be, and they were like, okay. So Larry said, clap, we're gonna clap. And then I grabbed the mic, I leaned it on me. I was like, keep those hands clapping. Do, do, bop, do, do. And I'm going, Thanos, plug my freaking speakers into the band. So that was probably one of the craziest things I don't know. There's lots of them, lots of craziness.
That's awesome. My God. So, all right. So we got a lot of good stories. There's one, well, I mean, there's one story that stands out for me but you know what? I don't know if it has to do. It doesn't really have to do with DJing. But I was with Chris and John.
Were you drunk, Adi? Were you drunk?
I was a little bit drunk. You know what? All right, screw it. We'll tell the story very quickly. It doesn't have to do with DJing, but I was with Chris and John, so it pertains to
the DJs.
So this is about the mindset of like the audience and the mindset of like how you are in a club. And let me just tell you that this story is going to leave you thinking, always have a positive and confident mindset. A positive and confident mindset will get you everywhere in life.
Are you talking about the Playhouse?
So we were hanging out at a buddy's house. I'm going to tell this story very quickly. We were hanging out at a buddy's house in Brighton, and it was a bunch of us, and we were waiting for Chris and John to show up. So we're all drinking. And I just got back from Greece like maybe a day or two before, and I had like these big, thick like cigarettes with no filters. They were like just these big, weird cigarettes, no filters. And I was like hardcore back then, smoking like everything and anything.
You sure that wasn't a joint?
Hold on. Right. So then my buddy rolls a joint, which kind of looked like these Greek cigarettes. So in my drunken state, I grabbed the joint, I grabbed the Greek cigarettes, and I put them in this little cigarette case that I thought was so cool to carry around because I was so cool back then. So like I closed it up, but in my drunken state, I didn't remember putting the joint in. So we head to Playhouse, and I'm with Chris, John, and our other buddies. And I'm just ripping it up. I was all over the place. I was stealing girls' pocketbooks. I was stealing people's jackets. I was running around, like throwing it to other people. People like just swearing and yelling at me. So then like I'm in the middle of the dance floor and I bust out my Greek cigarettes because I'm so cool. I'm international. And I put the cigarette in my mouth and I light it up. This is when you could smoke in the clubs. So I light it up and I'm smoking and I'm having the great time. And this girl's like yelling and screaming at me because I'm being an asshole. And all of a sudden, like 5 bouncers, boom, converge on me. And they grab the cigarette and they grab me and they're holding me. And I'm like, you motherfuckers, you don't know what you're doing, man. That's a Greek cigarette, man. They're like, no, man, that's marijuana. I was like, you fucking stupid moron. That's a Greek cigarette. You don't even know what a cigarette is? I was so convinced.
I was watching this. This is exactly how it went down.
I was so convinced, 100%, no doubt in my mind, that that was a Greek cigarette, that I was screaming at the bouncers. And what ends up, long story short, they hand it back to me and they go, thank you, sorry about that. I will never forget that, because
I remember seeing them. They were sniffing it. They were trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
and
I
one of
remember
them goes,
the 2 bouncers were like, you think? Yeah, maybe.
This is why, guys, if anything happens in your life, if anything happens, just have 100% conviction and confidence in what you are saying, and you could do anything.
Well, you know, the saying goes, what's the saying? Like it's only, or it's true if you believe it. Right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. If I for 1 second believe that I had the joint, if I for 1 second believe that I smoked that joint, I would have been out of there in 2 seconds. But I did not know that joint was there. I truly believed it was a Greek cigarette. And I was like, you guys don't even fucking know what a Greek cigarette is. That's a Greek cigarette. Give me back my cigarette. And they're like, okay, sorry, sir, and have a good night.
That's called the power of Greek persuasion.
Dude, that was such a funny night. That was a funny memory. I mean, like I said, I'm sorry, it doesn't have to do with DJs, but I was with 2 DJs.
I like it.
So.
I like the story. If you think you're right, you're right. If you think you're wrong, you're wrong. You were right.
That's it. That's it, man. Just be confident in everything you do.
Yeah, that was a memorable night, man. That was a fun night.
So let's
we had a lot of fun
concerts,
nights back then. We had a lot of fun nights.
You guys all went to the Greek concerts back then, right? In the after parties.
So so that's the next question I want to get into. Like,
those were fun, man. You said that earlier, and I was thinking about those. We used to do all the after parties, and those were a blast. You know,
the concert would be at the Roxy. The concert would be at the Roxy, and the after party would be at Aria, right? And so you guys walk across.
Yeah, it was. Well, usually it was at the Wang, the Orpheum. If it was usually the Wang or the Orpheum. If it was at the Roxy, the party would stay there all night. But if it was at the Wang or the Orpheum, we would try to bring it to Aria. But there was kind of 2 groups. There was the Roxy group. There was Manos, and then there was Aleko and me. That would do the after parties with Harry Iliopoulos. You guys know Harry, right?
Yeah.
So Harry's dad would bring most of the artists back then from, I don't know, Ana Visi to Alkeo and everyone in between. And he, there was always 2 teams. It was always across the street or next door to Aria.
Right.
And you never know who you get, and everyone would promote. I saw some of the flyers you guys were posting, like the official after party. We always use the same thing. Everyone had the official after party, and it was always like, where are we going? Right? We're going here, we're going there.
And
so as DJs, did you guys find the after parties were something that set apart from other Greek nights you've done? Were Greek concert after parties better, worse? Were they similar? How do you guys perceive that?
It was similar. They were just a good Greek night, It was really cool to have the artists show up there if you can get them there. That was the best part. And what we used to do was, I used to partner up obviously with Harry and Aleko. And I remember one night Harry's stressing it out. He was like, I don't know if we're gonna be busy, dude. Manos is pumping it across the street and we're pumping it next door to Aria. I don't know if we're gonna be busy. And I'm like, dude, relax. I was like, it's gonna be fine. He's like, how do you know? And I was like, wait, isn't your father bringing, at the time, I think it was Visi. Isn't your father bringing on a Visi? He's like, yeah. I'm like, then why don't you let me just get on the microphone, dude? At the end of the night, just go, hey, guess what? I'll see you at Aria. He's like, that's brilliant. Will you do that? I was like, why would I not do that? So I'm behind stage. I'm hanging out with Ana Visi. She's like, hey, what's up? I'm like, you're going to come to the after party. I'm talking to him like, and she used to have, was it her that had the the crazy haired drummer. I don't know if you guys, this dude had like all blonde dreadlocks, and he was like a rock star. You know, everyone was like just pumped to see this kid. So I go behind stage. I used to do it all the time. And as soon as she would say, you know, that's it, that's going to wrap it up, I would just pick up the mic and I would say, guys, we'll see you next door at Aria, the official after party. Anna Visi's going to be here. Everyone's going to be there. But we never had that in contract. We never were guaranteed. So that was a little like, I hope she shows up, you know?
And Peter.
So we would go to Aria and sure enough, you know, you're doing a concert. There was about 1,000 people that would show up to the concert. But the kids that would come over was about 350, 400. It wasn't 1,000, you know, everyone coming over. And we'd be sweating it, man, and sweating it and hoping. And we'd have like the middle blocked off. We'd have name tags saying reserved for Anna Visi. And we're like, you know, praying she's coming, you know. And then Thanos would be DJ, and I'd be at the front door with Aleko, like, you know, is she coming? Is she coming? You know, we'd be busting Harry's chops, like, go over there, tell her she's got to come here. And every time we did it, thank God, every time the artist would show up. And it was like, we were just sweating bullets, but all the time, because there's no contract, there was no guarantees that would show up, you know?
And how does the night go for you as a DJ? Do you play a lot of her music, for example? Like you're gonna pump some good on Avicii if Anna Vici's there?
Not a lot, but you would play 3 or 4 songs and she would love it. You know what I'm saying? She would go nuts and people would go nuts, but you wouldn't play like an hour of it, you know? But you would definitely play the anthems, the bombs, and she had so many big hits that was easy to do. I remember one time we did the after party at M80, which was off the beaten path from the Orpheum, right?
That's like all the way up.
You know, because the wing, you're parking and you just walk right over to Aria. So we're at M80 and, you know, everyone's coming up to me because like the official after party, Algeo's coming to M80. And I was like, is Algeo here? Is Algeo here? And we're like, I don't know. So finally, it was like 1:30 and the club's closing at 2. He wasn't there. I was like, man, everyone's expecting us, you know, he's going to be here. And I just grabbed my drink and I was, you know, you guys remember the M80 booth? Like you had to come up in a ladder. It was tight as shit. You're sitting up in this little booth like this. I'm standing like this. The light guy's next to me. So I grab my drink. I grab a Smirnaki and I'm like, Yasure Algeo. And I just put my drink up, but he wasn't even there. And the whole place is like, oh, Gail's here, right?
Like, everybody's probably assuming he's somewhere they can't see him.
Dude, I'm like, Gail, thanks for coming by there. Right?
And I guarantee you there's a bunch of people that were like, no, he was there. I saw him.
Dude, everyone was like, and they're all looking around and I'm just going like this. I tell the light guy, blacken the room out, right? He blackens the room out. I'm like, where did he go, right? And next thing you know, it's 1:55 in the morning. And guess who shows up? Algeo, right?
Algeo.
And I'm like, what are you doing at 1? He goes, Tira cleaner. I'm like, dude. He's like, what? Right? So I get him in. This time.
Wait, isn't Algeo from Boston? Am I mistaken?
Algeo's from New Hampshire originally.
Oh, wow.
Oh, he's New Hampshire.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So I get him and I bring him in the DJ booth so everyone can see him. And I'm like, this dude's been here all night, I swear. Right? So he's in the DJ booth, we're drinking, and then 2 o'clock we ended off with one of his songs, you know what I mean? And it was crazy. But those nights were stressful because you got all that stress of bringing the act to the room with no guarantees. And you're promising everyone that you're going to do it.
And Peter, back then, concerts were held during the weeknights. They weren't weekends.
Exactly.
Concerts that came to Boston were either Monday through Thursday.
Boston always aggravated me because of that. Like, I always hated the fact that we can never get a big name concert on like a Friday or a Saturday night. Whenever we did a Saturday night or something, it was like such a special treat. And I was like, why can't we do this? But they were never available.
Because in New York, available, that's the problem.
They would go to New York first,
and
then come here, you know.
Yeah, but it's like, you know what? Boston is a freaking good scene. Like I can't believe like we couldn't get more weekend concerts. But anyway, I mean, it is what it is, and you know, once COVID's over, we're gonna restart this stuff. We're gonna get this stuff going, and hopefully, you know, people like it, people respond. Everybody here is going to be involved as long as you want to be. And we're
We're
gonna
gonna do the
we're gonna
first-
try to bring it back, man. We're gonna try to bring it back.
Adi, what do we call it? The first Greek super spreader we're gonna have.
Yeah. Well, Peter told me a story, and Peter, share that story and end it with the line of like, in the future, we're gonna look back and say we were the first people to do this. So tell the story, and then I'll tell you my version.
Places on names, right? But we were at this weekend. I went to a party in Boston, and I get invited to go to this party, and it was a birthday party. So I go to this party, and there was a band there, right? And everyone knows the band members, right? So I'm like, these are all my boys. I'm like, oh, what's up? So I walk in there, and everyone had a mask on, and not everyone. Most people had a mask on in the beginning, and then within like, I don't know, an hour later, no one's wearing a mask. Everyone's Greek dancing. Everyone's holding hands, dancing on top of each other. It was like I said, it was a Greek super spreader.
Yeah, no, but Peter didn't say that. He goes, in the future, we're all gonna look back and be like, we're the first Greeks who like ventured out after COVID and this and that. And I was like, or Peter, you could in the future be like, we were that outbreak that everybody was talking about.
The super spreader.
And he's like, so we were basically a Greek super spreader event.
We're gonna wear the T-shirt, but it felt like you were at a speakeasy. Remember you read about the prohibition and those clubs underground, right?
Yeah.
It felt like that. Like it was at a restaurant, and the owner was kind of bugging out. He was like looking out the window all the time. He was like, and we're going nuts. We're just jamming up a storm in there, and it was awesome, dude.
So the first event we do, we're gonna call it the Greek super spreader event.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna call it. I said, Adi, the first event we do, we're calling it the Greek super spreader, and it's gonna be packed. That's how we're gonna go down.
That's gonna be awesome.
That was fun.
Yeah, but man, I can't wait, because once this shit is over, or safe, like we're gonna reintroduce there's concerts, but we're gonna reintroduce it in a way that it's gonna be like the old school, because we're gonna have the people from the old school. We're gonna have you guys. Everybody's gonna be involved. Anything that me and Foti do, everybody who's here, and hopefully some others, but like everybody who's here is absolutely 100% involved. Like, this is the team. These are the people who put Greek nights on the map, and like we want to bring it back. We want to just have a good time, and we can. And there's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of cool things that we're gonna do. There was a lot of cool things that we had, planned, before COVID hit. It's going to happen. So, everybody just prepare for that, because if you think you're retired, you're coming out of retirement. If you think you're only doing weddings, you're coming back and you're doing pumping Greek nights. Like, it's going to be good. And we're going to have a lot of fun with it. So let me kind of get into, I'll say last question, but take your time and whatever. But like, is everybody here still involved in DJing in one way or another? Is anybody here like completely done with it? Like I know the answer to some of you guys, but let me hear from you guys. Like,
I'm done with it.
Yeah, but what did I just say? Yo, what did I just say?
I'm out.
What did I just say?
Mic drop. I'm out.
Θα έρθω εκεί πέρα και θα σε πάρω από το βρακί, and you guys are coming to my night.
You made me nervous when you're like, everybody's gonna come back and DJ. I'm like, all I know is like, I'm gonna play like, I like to move it. And
you can play the doom bag, John. John, bring the doom bag.
Yeah, you can do the
Dude, come on. Like, all right, so you won't do like a 10-minute set with you and Chris?
Do they still have those Pioneer CD players?
You're asking me? I don't think you know anything.
I'd have to use someone's Serato. You'd have to make a Chris playlist.
Chris, you'll jump right in. You'll jump right in. You guys will jump right in. I got Manny had me go down to Atlantic City right before everything stopped, and he's like, "Oh, come down and play." I was like, "Dude, I haven't played in a year." He's like, "No, come down and play." And he said, real club, right? So I walk in there, and there's 4 Pioneer CDJs, And then once you jump in, I just felt right at home. You guys would,
you get right into it.
You know what?
You guys are ruining my marketing right now.
The more nerve-wracking part would be not so much the equipment, but like the song, like the location of the music, right? Because when we were spinning, and the same goes for all you guys, right? Like I knew exactly where this track was and which, page of the CD book or which crate of records it was in and exactly where it was. And I knew like it was like everything was just like, organized in a certain way where you could just like kind of start playing, right? Now it's like when I've tried to do it a couple of times with Thrilla, and it's like, I don't know, it doesn't feel right to like search for a song on a computer. You know what I mean? Like it's different.
It does if it's your computer. It's weird to search on someone else's though.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like your crates on your Serato is very like similar to your CD book or your record crates.
Yeah.
But me jumping into yours, I would feel very weird. Peter does it to me sometimes.
When I see Dimitri at a gig and I go up to him, I go, fill me up a crate and go take a break. And he fills me up a bag of goodies.
Yeah.
But if we tell you like, a month or two ahead, like can't you just put 10 minutes of something together so we could just announce you guys are being there?
I think I could do that.
Yeah.
For you, audience, for the Greek Super Spreader event.
Dude,
For the community.
I would be so upset personally, on a personal level, if you guys refused this.
I'm not refusing, dude.
Who refused me, Chris? But John, you got to be there too.
Yeah, man, I'm in.
John's gonna play the Doom Bag, man.
Yeah, play Doom Bag.
Yeah, whatever. Even if you do a DJ Khaled, like, yeah, all right, like whatever. Just do something.
We the freakers. Say that.
I'm gonna introduce you guys with that.
There.
I'm gonna introduce you guys with that. That's awesome, man. All right, but all right. So John and Chris are kind of not involved at the moment in DJing, right? But everybody else is, right?
I wouldn't say at all. Like I wouldn't say kinda.
Not kinda, not at all.
Equipment, man.
Listen, I'm not really in the rotation. I'll just come out once a year and I'll play a gig just because I love it and I'm passionate about it. So, you know what I mean? I'm down for that. I'll come out.
Well, yeah. I mean, Peter, the original plan was you were basically the guy, so you better be like ready to come back out.
I'm in. We were setting up encores, so I was, I felt like that dude from The Incredibles. Where's my suit, woman? You know what I mean? Like, my suit, woman. I'm going back out.
No, man, it's gonna happen. So, it's absolutely gonna happen. But 7, Mani, Thrilla, I know you guys are still.
Yeah, I can go. I'm still active. I still do a lot of mobile events, weddings, whatnot. I still do music production as a profession. People pay me for it. I do like remixes and mashups and stuff. Like,
and we're gonna have some on Boston Greeks as well because.
Yeah, so like I'll do like I work with like hip hop crews and like do music for them. Like they'll dance at the Celtics and stuff, and like they'll go on tour with different artists, and I do the music for them. They go on TV and stuff. So I'm very active doing that. Obviously, it tailed off with COVID now, so I still do a lot of that. I still do a lot of Greek mixes, and I'm doing those because I like him, and like I feel like I'm almost carrying that tradition on. That I grew up listening to Peter's stuff, and Chris was doing it, and then like I was doing it, and I'm still putting them out. And, I have a pretty active SoundCloud, so SoundCloud.com/Thrilla Music, and it's like loaded up with, all. Actually, I just started a Mixcloud where I put all my old Greek mix CDs on there.
Oh, that's awesome.
With Chris, and like, so you go to Mixcloud/DJ Thrilla, or you go to DJThrilla.com, and you can get links to go to see my mix CDs. But I just put one out like 2 weeks ago. I think I sent it to you.
Yeah. Awesome mix.
Yeah, so like I think I still put those out because I love it. I do a cool intro. I get all the hot tracks in Greece, the hot remixes. I make a couple remixes. I throw it on there. They're not a full CD anymore. Like 30 minutes. I mean, that's what I think the people's attention is.
The attention deficit disorder of the youth. So,
and I think it keeps me relevant to like what's going on, and and it's my passion too. So I'll always be doing those. Even like people like, oh, you're doing this for promotion. I go, look, I'll be doing these because I like to do them, not because someone's paying me to do.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's awesome.
I still make a CD once a year, once every 2 years, just like Thriller said, just to keep up with the music. I'll hit all you guys up. Usually I'm like, yo, send me some tracks. Thriller, you hook me up. You guys all hook me up, and I like music, so I can't stop. I'm going to keep on making mix CDs or whatever. They're not CDs anymore. Mix tracks, mix, plays, lists, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, man. Why
Forever,
not?
So
you guys have a skill. It's like an amazing and like a necessary skill for people getting together and having fun. Like, what is a party without a DJ? Like, what is a club without a DJ? Like, it doesn't exist. So I know Dimitri is still involved in like weddings and stuff like that, right? So no problem with you.
No, I'm willing to do this. I just, all I ask is for some ample notice on a date, because
the day before is what we're doing.
What's that? Yeah.
The day before, 24-hour notice.
No, absolutely. There's notice. And Manny, you're in, right?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely in. I mean, like doing clubs and the Greek nights, I miss doing those.
Yeah, dude. That's what I'm saying.
Like around 2018, end of 2018, I like missed just DJing in Boston in general because I was doing private events. Right. And so I did have a residency at Bostonia Public House, which was amazing because they just let me play whatever I wanted. So I just went with whatever the crowd wanted that night. One night was like all Latin, another night was all house, and then some nights would just be a mix of everything.
Oh, that's cool.
So those were like the funnest nights for me, just because like I actually don't like when there's a place that says you can only play this.
Yeah.
Because that limits your creativity. The most fun is when you can just go on and go in and out of different genres and like mixing, just beats that you never thought would go together and they just flow so nice. That was the best. And so yeah, like I really wanted to get back into the club scene a little bit. So I was doing that, and then COVID stopped that. Well, so at home, yeah,
we had a good run with you your residency with us at Splash for a while.
That was fun. A lot of fun.
Right. Even though it was labeled as did we label it as a Greek night? But it was.
I don't remember. I just remember it was on the website all the time, but like I don't remember what we labeled it as.
I think you just played whatever you wanted those nights.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I played everything.
The whole
definitely
point,
hip hop, house, Greek,
reggaeton. I gotta mention this though, right? Didn't we also do a release party for you, Peter, at Splash when you were doing your show?
Yeah, we did. That's right. It was at Splash.
We did
Manolo was there too, wasn't he?
Yeah. We did a throwback night at Splash too.
I don't know.
You guys remember the throwback night? That was an awesome night.
I remember we hosted with Peter with his film crew for his show.
Yeah.
Up in Boston, right?
Yeah.
I've
got the
we had to sign like waivers to be on camera.
Yeah, right.
Everyone that walked in had to well, you know what they did when you do an event like that? They put a sign on the door. By walking through the doors, you're
you can't have everybody sign. It's just too crazy.
Yeah, so that was fun. I have footage of that. I got to get you guys that footage from Splash. I got to find that.
That was good.
I think Dimitri did nights for us at Splash too, right?
Yeah, I did.
I remember all sorts of girls asking me who the DJ was and do I have his number? And I was like, bitch, stay away. I didn't want to blow up your spot, but they made me jealous. But we had a lot of good times, man.
I remember too, Splash was very open format, like George just said. You know, you could label a night however you want it, but just play whatever you feel.
But that's the point of
those are the best nights, man.
Yeah.
If me and Foti do a night where we get a DJ, we want the DJ to choose.
Right.
Because the DJ is the expert. The DJ knows. Like, we're not gonna be like, you can only play this. Like, dude, get the crowd moving, make the night successful, and that's your job. So like, I think it's stupid for anybody to be like, you have to do this and you have to do that. Like,
I got a quick story with Seven, Dimitri. We had, remember in the alley one night we were doing nights in the alley, and the very first night that we kicked off, it was like just a regular night, and we walked into an opening of a night with like over capacity which we never expected, and it was just free flow. You had a
That's sweet. Yeah.
That was a good night.
That was like they had sort of a dying Friday night, and then we took it over, and that first opening night was chaos.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you
it was
never
really
know,
good.
right?
Yeah, but again, that was open format. I think what makes you guys pretty good promoters is you never dictated what we needed to do.
But you guys are the experts at
But there are
what you
promoters
do.
out there who are not like that, who will tell you, like, this is what we're trying to cater to, but you never.
We do what we do, and you do what you do, and what you do is play music, and you get the crowd going. I don't think a promoter should ever tell a DJ what to play.
We always allocated drink tickets to the DJs, and then everything was fine.
No, there's a lot of good times, man. The thing about this group right here is that, we talked about some horror events, but it's like 99% like just amazing, awesome memories. Like, if it wasn't for every single person here, like I would be missing so much of what makes me me. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that have gone out to Greek nights, that have gone out to whatever nights you guys have done, private parties, weddings, whatever it is you guys do. There's so much about what you do that kind of affects people. I, for one, am somebody who has been greatly affected by what each and every one of you have done. It kind of, everything molds the person. People are made up by memories. Like, everything about a person is a memory. So it's like, you guys have created memories, right?
Music has a lot of that memorabilia in it, man. Like, we hear songs and you know where you were, what time, where you first heard it, and the memories and we, all of us hear it from people. We bump into people say, oh, I was at that gig, I was at here. I'll tell you guys a funny, crazy story talking about memories. I was at committee in Boston a few weeks ago, right?
I was gonna say, this is a recent story.
This is recent. I was at committee a few weeks ago at Boston, and I'm trying to get a table to sit with my wife, and they're like, we only have a seat at the bar, and we were getting breakfast, and I was like, oh, I don't want to sit at the bar. They're like, you have to wait another half an hour. I was like, I really don't want to sit at the bar, so I'm really trying not to sit at the bar. And I'm, and I was like, do I call my buddy George owns it? Do I text George Abujawdi? And I was like, I don't want to bother him.
I was gonna say, how are you waiting for a table, Peter?
So listen, right? I'm like, I'm not gonna, pull rank and pull name drop and call my friends. So I'm just trying to avoid sitting at the bar. So I end up sitting at the bar, and I was like, Pete, just relax, sit at the bar, enjoy yourself. So I sit at the bar. This kid comes over. And have you guys been to committee? They have Greek food there, right? So I said, the kid behind the bar, I said, you guys have frappe? And he goes, yeah, I got frappe. And he goes to me, he said, right? So I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, where are you from? And we start talking, and he starts saying blah blah blah. And he's like, oh, I'm from Samos. And I'm like, you're from Samos, right? So now, Kotzamanis from Samos, right? I know a lot of Greeks, right? So we start talking. Next thing you know, George, right? This kid was at the wedding I was DJing in Samos when you were there.
What?
All right. So I'm doing a wedding. His kid goes to me, dude, I was at a wedding one time with this American DJ from Boston, and he made us all jump in the pool. I was like, that was me. He was like, what? I was like, you were there. And nobody else knew that, because at the end of this wedding, everyone jumped in the pool. All the bridesmaids the whole party jumped in the pool.
Were you there, George?
Yeah, it was my cousin's wedding.
Oh, that's awesome.
Did you jump in the
his
pool
cousin called me up. And
yeah,
I jumped in Samos, and he's like, Pete, I want you to fly to Samos and DJ my wedding. I'm like, are you nuts? So I called Manis up. I was like, dude, I'm not bringing equipment. I'm not, he's like, don't worry about it. I'll take care of everything. I know kids there. We'll get you, Pioneer DJ, equipment. So I fly out there. I'm doing this kid's wedding, and sure enough, this kid's bartending, and I didn't want to sit at the bar. You know what I mean? And then we hit it off like this. I became friends with the kid. And it's just crazy. It's just crazy how the world goes. But those stories are just, it's just, you're one person away from that,
I love those stories, man. I just love hearing about it. I love that connection. And, I've always been, music obviously plays like a huge role in my life. And it's like, you guys are like the soundtrack of so many people's lives. It's like such a cool thing to do. And I just think it's so cool. And that's why I'm so upset when Chris and John just drop that mic on me. And like, I don't care, man. I don't care what you're saying. If I have to come to your house and drag you out, you guys are coming. That's all I'm saying.
We're in, man.
All right. All
Yeah,
right.
man.
Don't make me bring a Greek cigarette and go nuts on you.
Dude, just put the pacifier in the mouth and you'll be fine.
Hey. Well, guys, this was again awesome, amazing. Like the stories, everything about what we're talking about is just so it's so nostalgic for me personally, and I know there's so many people out there that just they love hearing about. You know, this is every Greek in Boston's history. Like every Greek in Boston has gone out to one of the nights that you guys have been part of. Like everybody has a story. You guys are literally part of thousands of Greeks in Boston's stories. So it's like it's just such an amazing thing, and I'm so happy we have like episode number 2 to play with. Are you signaling me?
Yeah,
you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to say something. So to your point or your comment, Ari, is for those that are listening to the podcast, is that we're loading photo galleries of all these major nights that we've captured over the years, where every single one of our DJs and close friends have been a part of. So for those that listen to the podcast, it'll be followed up with the photo galleries that thankfully Ari saved and remembered to save. There's not just thousands, but tens of thousands of photos of those nights that we've captured.
And videos, like we were talking about
videos
Greek
as well.
Star performing. I got the video of that. We were talking about so many things. I got me spilling the beer on Chris's CDs. I got the video, man. Like
you got my new mix on there?
What?
You got my new Greek mix on there on your website?
I don't have it yet, but it's coming. Don't worry. I'm actually gonna promote that with this episode.
All right.
And I think I puked in John's back seat once.
I'm trying to cross promote here, man.
John, did I screw up your car? I think I did.
I wouldn't remember.
I have a flashback of you being real pissed and going into a gas station to get cleanup stuff. But anyway, we all have like these amazing memories, and you know these guys are so involved in these Greek memories. You know, we're gonna post all those picture galleries so you guys can reminisce, but everybody out there has a story or a memory from something you guys were involved in, and I'm so happy that we could gather. And I'm so happy, like this is episode 2, and this is not the last. Like we're gonna keep doing this. There's more DJs that we're gonna bring on, but like this is like the core group, and hopefully these guys are part of every single episode we do, because they are such an important part of that. So I just want to say personally, thanks guys so much again. Dimitri, Arthur, George, John, Peter, Chris, thank you guys, man. We appreciate so much your time. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us and telling us your story. Everybody out there, from the feedback we got on the last episode, I know they love it, and this one's going to be even better, I think. And just thanks. I just want to say thank you to everybody. Anybody want to say anything, closing, anything?
Thank you guys for
thank you guys, man, for putting it all together.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is necessary. I think this is like a real like needed thing. Like for me, it's kind of like I don't know if it's like therapeutic, but like I love talking to you guys and hearing these stories. It's just such a cool thing, and I know everybody out there does too. Foti?
I think you guys should name the episode, and this one should be called The Greek Cigarette.
Oh yes.
Or I Don't Want to Sit at the Bar.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. You know what? That's a you know what? If this ends up being like a long series, that's actually a good idea, man. We should name each one with some sort of a highlight of the reel.
Absolutely.
Or we don't do that anymore. Chris and John.
I'm out.
No, all right, this has been great. I want to thank all the guys for taking their time to be with us, because obviously, you know, there's a lot going on, and it's great to bring us back together, even for these short moments, and just, you know, reminisce and go through the stories and just, you know, just have a good time with it. So I want to thank all of you guys for being a part of this.
Yeah, dude. Everybody, thank you so much. This was awesome. Like, I have such a good time. I don't care if one person watches this or not. I personally had such a good time, and I thank you guys. And you know what? This is Greek DJ 2 Electric Boogaloo. So look out for part 3, which I don't know, probably about a month or so. And we may have new faces. I don't know, but if we do, awesome. These guys will be back, hopefully, and we're gonna do it again. So everybody out there, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. You guys have comments, feedback, let us know, because these guys also want to know. All the fan mail from the girls, like, you could calm down a little bit, because I got flooded before, and it was almost like New Kids got with Backstreet Boys and went on tour, and they're like, that's the feedback we were getting. Like, all these girls were like, oh yeah, I remember this.
Those damn bots.
But thank you everybody for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode coming probably about a month or so. Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Everybody, have an awesome night. Thank you again, and we will do it
guys.
once more.
Cheers, every
Thank
guy.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you guys.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
guys.
Bye.
Good night. Stay safe.